Bob's Breakfast.
Boris Johnson is a porn star.
I beg your pardon?
The speech he gave straight after the Brexit result.
Yes.
That speech has been posted onto this website, Pornhub, under the title, Dumb British Blonde has over 15 million people at once. I must just clarify it, though. He is fully clothed. You don't see the Boris Johnson.
It's Bob.
A lot of protests on the weekend. People went on a naked bike ride protest through the centre of Newcastle. Big protests in London as well. They reckon 30,000 people showed up to protest the Brexit vote. When have you been involved in a protest? Sandra, you say you went on a housework strike. How did that work?
You know, when everyone else is making a mess and you just refuse to keep picking up after everybody. Did that once.
And you said, that's it, I'm on strike.
I did.
That's quite a protest. And how long were you on strike?
Well, it lasted a week. I did stand my ground.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the old man. Always leaving his dirty underwear on the floor next to the wash basket rather than put it in the wash basket. Really, really annoying.
So what is it you didn't do for a week?
I didn't wash any of his clothes that were on the floor. So by the end of the week, I was actually lifting pants up, hoovering underneath them, throwing them back on the floor just to be awkward.
You did a laundry protest. You refused to wash anything for a week.
I did.
Wow.
I did. If it wasn't in the wash basket, it wasn't getting washed.
And what was the result? Did he change his ways?
Yeah, he has actually, because it turned out he had to go to work. I was like, I have no clean pants. I was like, oh, there was nothing in the wash basket. A big pile next to it. So I actually had to go to work, commando style, go via the shop, buy some pants to then go to work.
When you've been stabbed in the back. Pete.
I took a guy on who he lost his job and he went to an adult training centre.
Yeah.
And I happened to know the guy doing the training centre. He approached me because he was interested in getting into the gas and heating game.
Yeah.
So I took this guy on. We spent a little bit of money on him. We trained him up. We put him with some different engineers and, got him experienced and up and running. And I went away on holiday for a few days. And while I was away, cut a deal with one of my clients to do the job cheaper.
No, that is treacherous.
That is treacherous. That is absolutely treacherous, yeah.
So you fired him?
Oh, yeah, we got rid of him straight away, yeah.
What an idiot. What an idiot.
I know.
How did he think he was going to get away with that?
Well, some people have got no morals, Graham, haven't they?
But you had gone out of your way to help him and bring him on, and then he treats you like that. Disgraceful.
Yeah, well, we knew there could be trouble because one of the guys who's retired now, he had a vast array of experience, and he turned around and said to this guy once, he said, you're just using me. He said, well, how do you mean? How can we be using you? He said, well, you're getting me to do this and you're getting me to do that. And we said, well, how do you learn?
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. And then this guy said, the old fella said to him, well, look, I've got like 50 years experience, he said, which I'm handing to you. He said, don't you think you're using me?
It's a fair exchange. That's what it is. It's a fair exchange.
It's a fair exchange.
Yeah, you do all the dirty jobs, and you're there when I need you. And along the way, you'll learn, and you'll be able to have some skills to go and earn a living, and then you can train someone else and pass it on.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, this is the way of the world. This is not only the real world, but the world of Jedi Knights. Everything works that way. And he stabbed you in the back, AP.
He stabbed us in the back with his lightsaber.
Yes, he did. Talking about protests this morning, and there's one going on that's affecting you, Juliet. What is it?
My kid's school is on strike tomorrow, and I'm thinking, how is that okay? Because, it's very short, very last minute, you've got to try and make other arrangements for them because,
And why is the teachers on strike, is it?
Why? I don't know. It's normally for more money, isn't it? But I don't know.
I don't know. The thing is, they don't know the first thing. Why aren't they striking today on the Monday, give themselves a long weekend? What's the matter with them? What is the matter with them? They get too many holidays. That's why they're not thinking like we do. We go, which day are we going to go on strike? I'm thinking of Tuesday. No, don't be stupid. Let's take the Monday or the Friday off. Let's get a long weekend.
The weather's nice.
Yeah, and these people we've put in charge of educating our children, and they don't know the first thing about going on strike? I don't know.
This is Bob.
We really shouldn't be surprised that Britain voted no to stay in the EU. We've never been fully committed to the idea of being European. We kept the pound as our currency instead of joining the euro, and haven't even fully adopted the metric system. Beer is sold in pints. We use miles on our road signs and our speedometers. And we still measure fuel consumption in miles per gallon, even though petrol hasn't been sold in gallons since the early 80s. And we use an even more ancient measurement when we weigh ourselves. Even the non-metric Americans use pounds, but British people use stones. The name stone derives from the use of stones for weights, a practice that dates back to biblical times. And even though Brits weigh themselves in stones, the stone is prohibited for commercial use by the Weights and Measures Act of 1985. The reluctance to fully embrace the metric system is purely anti-European. It's got nothing to do with education. All state schools in the UK have been required to teach the metric system as the primary system of measurement since 1974. Nearly 2 generations have passed through the school system, having been taught the power and simplicity of the metric system, only to be discouraged from applying it fully in everyday life. It all boils down to this. We British suffer from a superiority complex. It's a psychological defense mechanism. This feeling of superiority conceals our true feelings of inferiority. Deep down, we are all desperately awkward and insecure. We compensate by saying we're better than the rest of Europe. Miles better.
This is Bob.
Big football match tonight. It's Wales versus Portugal in the semi-final of Euro 2016. Wales have already beaten the odds to get this far. Can they do it again? A lot of times, odds are beaten. When have you beaten the odds? It was a long shot, but it came in. 01438 422 106. Lisa.
I have a half-brother who was brought up in Spain. So the situation is quite complicated, really, but it was my mum's first marriage, which wasn't a very happy one. So throughout my childhood, I always knew that I had another brother. I always knew that I had a brother in Spain. And after many, many years, up until 3 years ago, he's now 53, I went on the internet. We were trying to locate him because my father had passed away, and we thought, well, let's try and locate him, and we did. So we had no idea if he was alive or dead or what had happened to him. I went on the internet, put his name in, couldn't find it, did a search, etc., etc. And I thought, well, what about if I just put his date of birth in? So I put his date of birth in, and it said famous people born on this day. I thought, oh, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be interesting, if he'd really made something of himself? I went in, and this photograph came up of my brother. And I tell you what, it was an absolute splitting image of my mum, and I knew straight away it was my brother. I went in, I looked at his profile, born 19th of February 1963 in London, and he's actually become a really successful actor, comedian, and presenter in Spain. So he's Spanish, he's been brought up as being Spanish, his English is very, very poor. So we contacted him, and it was the biggest shock in our whole life. I never ever thought, as you say, I could ever pull something like that off, ever even trace him. We didn't even know if he was alive, let alone somebody quite famous. So, in Spain, that is, not over here.
But wow!
Yeah, absolutely. So we contacted him, we sent him an email initially, he contacted us back. Within a week, he was over in England, he knew all about us. And we have built this most fantastic, unique relationship between myself and him, my mum, who is obviously still alive, and my other 2 brothers. So he's my half-brother, if you imagine. But
yes.
we don't call him our half brother. Obviously, he's
No.
our brother. So he's over in Spain. He's really happy. Got a lovely family, got lovely kids, and we go over there quite often now. And he comes here.
Wow!
And
you
three
beat the odds. You totally beat the odds on that one. You took a punt. It was a long shot, and you beat the odds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get the latest news now with Chris Hubbard.
So we've been hearing lots about the Conservative leadership process and who could potentially be the next Prime Minister. And you can understand it would be exhausting for all the candidates as well. Well, so how do they relax? With karaoke.
No.
They've had a karaoke session, reportedly at Westminster, after a bit of a question and answer session by colleagues.
The candidates?
Yeah. Theresa May, Michael Gove, what was then Stephen Crabb when he was a candidate, Liam Fox, are said to have joined other MPs for the sing-along.
Wait a second. What? Hey, one of them was voted out, weren't they? Who was that? Didn't make the cut?
Oh, this was Liam Fox.
Liam Fox. I know what he would have sang.
What's that?
It's my party and I'll cry if I want to.
Bob's Breakfast.
When have you beaten the odds? Adam.
When I was younger, I used to play for Stevenage Borough, the reserves and all sorts, but I suffered an injury.
Yeah.
Couldn't play anymore because my fitness was terrible, always playing low league, so my mum got me an audition for a holiday park.
She did what? What did she do, Adam?
She got me an audition in London just to get me out of the house, really, for a holiday park. Turned up, couldn't sing, couldn't dance, couldn't do anything.
So this was like a Butlins Redcoat kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I turned up, I wiggled my ears and rolled my belly. That's all I could do.
Right.
And but that was the start of it. Basically, I got in and I met up with another young lad like me. Didn't really know what we was doing. And the long story is, we put ourselves together. Everyone said we could do it. It was awful, and we ended up taking it to Mallorca, to Cyprus, and doing Thompson's Gold holiday parks.
That is fantastic. What, the two of you, a bit like a double act, but...
Yeah, and we've carried on doing it for the last 10, 15 years.
And you've made your living at it?
Yep.
Hey, look at that. You totally beat the odds. Wow. So, are you still doing it?
Yeah, we're still doing it. We've just recently come back from a Goldie Oldies weekend. That's the trouble. We was very young.
Yeah.
And everywhere we turned up to these places, they were a bit worried. And we were going on, and we loved it. They loved it, and it was going great. And I never thought that would happen. All I wanted to be was a footballer.
And what do you call yourselves?
Flash and Jacks.
Flash and Jacks. Can we see Flash and Jacks anywhere local?
Yeah. We do all the local holiday parks. We do all the way from Cornwall up to Scotland.
Yeah.
And we still sometimes do the Mallorcas abroad and the Thompson's Golds and the Cyprus. It's great, and we're still best mates now. From then, we just met up in a caravan, and all we used to get a little bit drunk, and we used to be a bit silly, and ended up becoming our full-time job.
And do you still wiggle your ears and roll your tummy?
I don't wiggle my ears so much, but I roll my tummy every single gig.
All right, Flash and Jacks, check them out. Adam, great to talk to you. Thanks for checking in and telling us your story of how you beat the odds.
Cheers, mate.
Bob's Breakfast.
The British have a problem with commitment. I mean, really, we were never fully committed to the EU because we kept the pound, we kept pints and miles per gallon. The thing is, I don't think we're even fully committed to being Britons. We describe ourselves as British, as if we're only a bit Brit. Like something that's not that big is only big-ish. Or not that blue is just bluish. Not that young is young-ish. We're British. See, the thing is, we can also be snobbish, churlish, and standoffish. Which is all a bit rubbish.
This is Bob's Breakfast.
It's always nice to get an unexpected compliment. Yesterday, Julie, my wife, she's talking to a lady in the lobby of the block of flats where we live. Now, Julie's in her 40s. The lady looked at Julie, tilted her head to one side and said, "Are you 23? Well, Julie gave a polite giggle and made a minor adjustment to her hair. And then the lady carried on. Because there's some mail here for 23 that's ended up in our mailbox.
BOBfm.
Morning, Mark.
Talking about first cars.
Yeah.
Mine was an original Fiat 500.
The original, the old air-cooled ones.
The old air-cooled ones with the petrol tank inside the bonnet.
Yeah.
And if you weren't really careful,
Yeah.
you'd be driving down the road and the bonnet would come up in front of your face.
Right, so you say the petrol cap... did you have to lift the bonnet to put the petrol in?
Yeah, to actually lift the bonnet to put the petrol in. The petrol tank and the cap were inside the bonnet at the front. But
So you'd fill it with petrol, you haven't shut the bonnet properly, you drive off, and as you're down the road, gust of wind, next minute you can't see a damn thing.
that's it. And to start them,
Yeah,
there used to be a choke on one side of the handbrake, a little lever. There was the handbrake in the middle,
yeah,
a choke on the left-hand side,
yeah,
and then you put the key in the ignition,
yeah.
and then you pull the lever to the right-hand side for a starter motor. The key didn't start it. You had to put the key in
Yes.
and then pull the handle to start it.
Right. And did it go all right once it got going?
It was okay.
Because I think the 500, that was 500cc, wasn't it? It was a tiny
Yes,
engine.
it was. It was a 500cc, and I think, it managed to do 0 to 60 in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, didn't have a speedo, had a calendar.
That's the one.
Bob's Breakfast.
If you don't like this programme, you can always flick over and listen to Chris Evans shouting on Radio 2. That programme is broadcast in high def. Because to listen to it, you either have to be high or deaf.
This is Bob.
Now, you've just pointed out a sinister version of the David Cameron singing to himself tune.
That's right. This emerged on the internet yesterday.
You've put me... Now, where did this come from?
This was actually from a guy called Chris Hollis.
Ah, friend of the show,
Yeah,
Chris Hollis.
yeah.
Nice fella.
Yeah, he does music production and all sorts of clever stuff with music.
You see, when I first heard the David Cameron singing to himself tune, it did sound dum 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 dum. It sounded just kind of pleasant, but not.
Yeah.
Well, I've changed my mind. Listen, this is, in case you haven't heard it yet, this is what Chris Hollis has done. So David Cameron announces he's going to hand over the keys to number 10. Then he does his usual trick of he turns around and he walks away from the press, and he walks towards the front door of number 10, not realising his mic's still on, and we hear this.
Right.
This is what Chris Hollis has done with it.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. Chris Hollis has described it as the evil Tory theme tune.
It reminds me of something out of Star Wars.
Yes.
Where Darth Vader's walking around.
I don't know. I still think it was something far more innocent. I think it's just what we do sometimes when we sing to ourselves, hum to ourselves, whistle to ourselves, and even talk to ourselves.
Absolutely.
I've done it a lot.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it. I'm Graham Mack, reminding you that if you want to succeed, you have to be a freak. Evolution happens because of freaks. When the environment changes, the herd is thinned, and the only ones that survive are the mutants who are suited to the new environment. That's why you don't see your short-necked giraffe. You only see the long-necked giraffe, which at one time was a freak. Survival of the fittest is really survival of the freakiest. Elvis was a freak. So were the Beatles. Jagger, Johnny Rotten, Hitchcock, Spielberg, Chaplin, Steve Jobs, Hurricane Higgins, Kenny Everett, and Muhammad Ali. There can be no progress without freaks. Get your freak on! David Cameron caught singing to himself. He announces that he's going to hand over the keys of number 10 to Theresa May, turns round, walks to the front door in Downing Street and goes, dum-da-dum-da-dum. When do you find yourself doing this? Self-communication. Jackie.
I sing very loud when I'm very stressed because it stops me punching somebody.
Give me an example of when this has stopped you punching someone.
At work, I walk out of my staff room, and the louder I sing, the more cross I am.
Right, and do
so
the staff...
If I sing quietly, then I'm like a little bit annoyed. I go, and it's usually Whitney Houston, I have to say.
Yeah.
And it starts off a little bit of a plateau. But when I'm really angry, it becomes a complete concert, and I have to sing really loud.
The staff are aware of this?
I don't know yet.
You don't know, all right. So
no,
give me an example. Give me an example. You were in the staff meeting. Something happened. Can you tell me? Can you tell me what happened or what was said?
I think it was something about somebody had booked some time off without asking me.
Oh, okay. So you said something like "fine," and then you left the room.
That's exactly what the words were.
Yes.
The words were "fine."
Yes, you left the room, and can you give me a chilling reenactment of what happened next?
I'm every woman, it's all in me.
Bob's Breakfast.
David Cameron, gonna be a tough act to follow for Theresa May. Did you see Prime Minister's Question Time?
It was just a big joke yesterday. Cameron trying to get as many jokes in as possible.
It was the David Cameron stand-up act, and it was quite funny.
When it comes to women prime ministers, I'm very pleased to be able to say pretty soon it's going to be 2-0. Let's just take the last week. We both have been having these leadership elections. We got on with it. We've had resignation, nomination, competition and coronation. They haven't even decided what the rules are yet.
David Cameron, stand-up comedy. Going down well with the crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
If they ever got into power, it'd take them about a year to work out who would sit where.
The comedy stylings of David Cameron. Come back out here, Mr. Cameron. Take a bow. The comedy stylings, David Cameron, the Westminster wag. The comic of the commons. Bringing hilarity to the house. Can we hear it once again for the one and only David Cameron? Amazing. And you think, Theresa May, follow that. Can you play what you just played in the news? I don't think it was going well. To follow that, Theresa May does this.
When we take the big calls, we'll think not of the powerful, but you. When we pass new laws, we'll listen not to the mighty, but to you. That will be the mission of the government I lead.
What a contrast.
Tumbleweed.
Absolutely.
It's not happening, is it? So there we are thinking, oh dear, our new Prime Minister just doesn't. After the stand-up performance of David Cameron, our new Prime Minister just doesn't have it. But then she fires George Osborne and then appoints Boris Johnson as Foreign Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, the comedy stylings of Theresa May. Theresa, come back out here. Let's have a bow. Theresa May, ladies and gentlemen.
Bob's Breakfast.
What was David Cameron humming to himself as he walked back into number 10? If you haven't heard it yet, this is, didn't realise the mic was still hot, and this is what David Cameron did. A lot of people have been trying to work it out. There's been talk that it was the theme to the West Wing. Or perhaps it was something from Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh.
Andrew Davenport reckons he's nailed it. He says it's Tara's theme from Gone with the Wind. Thanks for getting in touch, Andrew. Tara's theme from Gone with the Wind. Do-do-do-do. Is that it? Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. You know, it could well be. Maybe David Cameron is a bit of a fan of Gone with the Wind. Maybe it's one of his favourite movies. I don't know. All I know is he is a little D-mob happy. He's leaving the job. I mean, just listen to this. This is when Theresa May asked David Cameron about what to do when she becomes Prime Minister.
You go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Bob's Breakfast.
Shocking statistics out this week. 1 in 10 couples will split up on holiday. Yeah, the stress of the holiday gets them all hot under the collar and they end up having a bit of a Barney. So when you've been on holiday with your other half, Jane, what kicks things off?
Usually what kicks it off with us is me not being able to find my passport in the bottom of my bag.
This is a situation at the airport.
Yes, yeah.
So you haven't even...
But we don't fall out on holiday.
No, this is in the airport it happens. And she
Yeah, in the airport
and he's like, oh, for
before you go.
goodness sake, Jane, why is it at the bottom of your bag? Why is it not in your hand? Look, mine's in my hand
getting
here.
Things out of my bag. Looking for it.
Right, and then it's on for one and all. And then what, do you just fume on the plane and you settle down when you get there?
No, I just forget, it just goes over my head.
Oh, right, but that's what starts it off.
I don't worry about things like that.
Yeah. All right, Jane, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bob's Breakfast.
Do. What is that? Morning, Pete.
I'm just ringing about Dave Cameron. I think he's actually humming a little bit of the tune to McFadden and Whitehead. There ain't no stopping us now.
Ain't no stopping us now.
We're on the move.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? That would make sense.
I think he's absolutely elated. He's had an unforgiving job. Who would want to do that job?
Exactly.
And I think he's overjoyed.
When you've been away with your other half and you've fallen out, what kicked it off? David, you were at a cabaret. Where was this cabaret?
Ilford came down in sunny Devon, North Devon.
Yeah.
And we were there on a holiday, and there was some evening entertainment, and then there was this girl opposite who was looking at me, and even though I wasn't doing anything, and my wife decided that she got the right hump and stormed out as if I was doing something, even though we were just literally, I was just sitting there watching the cabaret.
And what was the cabaret?
Tom Jones impersonator.
Tom Jones impersonator, right. So he couldn't have been that good if the girl was giving you the eye.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, well, obviously comparing me to Tom Jones,
obviously.
I don't quite know.
Yeah, well, that's not unusual.
Bob's Breakfast.
Do. Sounds familiar. Morning, Pete.
Can I play your new game, please?
What's the new game?
What's Dave humming?
Yes, what's Dave humming? That's right. Yes, what would you like to suggest that Dave is humming? Yes.
Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain?
Because we're having trouble, we're not having a summer, are we? So he's humming, singing in the rain.
He could well be. Thanks very much, Pete, for taking part.
Did I win?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what the right answer is. Unlike What's Bob Doing, where I know what the answer is, I don't know what David Cameron was humming.
I'm singing in the rain, Just singing in the rain, what a glorious feeling, I'm happy again.
If you go on holiday with your other half, watch out. There are some frightening statistics out this week about the amount of couples who split up on holiday because the stress just gets too much for them. Earlier we spoke to Jane. Jane has a problem with her other half, Dave. He gets upset at the airport because she can never find her passport. To give us Dave's side of the story, here he is. So what is it then, Dave?
Well, basically, the reason is it's this bag she carries around with her everywhere.
Right.
I mean, Jane's whole universe revolves around this bag.
Okay.
And I can't see why she's got to take all her bills. Yeah, you got it, Graham. You know what I mean? Everything that's paper, that's had anything to any relation in the last 3 or 4 years is all in that bag.
It's in that bag. So when it comes to finding her passport, she hasn't got a chance because there's too much other stuff to rummage through first.
Yeah, and she likes to look after my passport and the visas and the booking in.
And they all end up in this bag, the bag from hell?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, she'll be listening to this, Graham, and she'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. And that's what... So the holiday always starts off that way, but you always sort it out? Always sort things out? Yeah.
By the time we get on the plane, I've usually got it all in my little bag.
Yeah, oh, right,
when we get out of the other end,
you're all
we're not holding everyone up.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot.
Bob's Breakfast.
You've probably heard that Donald Trump's wife, Melania, has been accused of nicking bits of her speech from Michelle Obama, the current First Lady. I've done a comparison and I've put the two back to back for you to hear. See if you think that one has stolen from the other.
Values. Like, you work hard for what you want in life.
The values that you work hard for what you want in life.
I mean, those two sound pretty similar to me.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
Pretty close.
That you treat people with dignity and respect.
That you treat people with respect.
Because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Donald Trump's missus, Melania Trump, did she plagiarize what the First Lady had said? Michelle Obama in one of Michelle Obama's previous speeches. That might be a scandal, but it's not as big as the scandal I've uncovered. I put it to you, based on the evidence you're about to hear, that Melania Trump has also stolen from somebody even more important than Michelle Obama. Listen to this.
He will never ever give up. And most importantly, he will never ever let you down.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
He will never ever give up. He will never ever let you down.
Bob's Breakfast.
Nick's on the phone. You're not happy. What's up?
I was just getting a bit infuriated with the comments made about things with cycling and that.
Why? What was false about what I said about cycling?
Yeah, well, what it is like, you know, it's all against cycling, yeah?
Yeah, well, it's not against cyclists, it's just I don't understand why people would do such a dangerous thing and put their lives at risk and get in the way of other people.
No, I don't think that's the case. The problem is, I think people are intolerant of other users.
Oh, yeah, I'm extremely intolerant of cyclists. I hate them. I think they're a menace.
That's your opinion. I do about 1,000. I travel about 1,000 miles a week on a, and I ride a bike, I ride a motorcycle, I drive a car, and I drive a van.
Right.
And if people are a bit more tolerant of each other and actually respect each other, and I'm not just saying about cycling.
Yeah, but that's a pipe dream. That won't make cycling isn't safe. It's a dangerous thing to do, and blaming the other drivers is silly. You're 17 times more likely to be killed on a push bike than you are driving a motor vehicle. So why would you do it?
You would do it because you enjoy it. And the thing is, if people have more respect for each other, I drive.
But you can enjoy it on a cycle track or in a velodrome or during a competitive race where they close the roads. You know, you shouldn't be racing anything, never mind bikes, on the public highway. You shouldn't be. Cycling is a sport, and it's a great sport. You shouldn't be doing it on the road, just like you shouldn't be playing football on a dual carriageway.
Totally and utterly disagree with you. You know, I drive. You know, as I say, I go. You know, I'm out in the car, yeah, and I see lorry drivers, I see cyclists as well, which are, you know, act absolutely stupidly.
Yeah, and they're always going to do that because people are stupid. Then you're not going to change motorists. You're more vulnerable on a push bike.
Car drivers, and I'm in at the moment. I'm driving a big van.
Yeah.
Out on hands-free.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, if you had respect and respected what other values are
Sure.
on other people's...
And we could all wish for world peace. It's not going to happen. People are idiots on the road. So cyclists shouldn't get on the road with idiots. You're not going to change the world. You're not going to change it. The safest thing to do...
It's comments like yours, yeah, that make... Yeah, they already like it's quite...
No, my comments don't make anybody drive worse than they drive. My comments might save a life today if somebody who was going to get on a bicycle didn't get on one. Talking about this party where it was too noisy, so the police showed up to attend the noise complaint and were mistaken for strippers. What's your story of a case of mistaken identity? Adam?
I'm terrible for mistaking other people for my wife.
Now, you'd think of all of the people that you'd be able to spot in a crowd, your wife would be right up there in your top 3, I'm guessing.
I daydream a lot, and it's terrible. I've often gone up to people, and on loads of occasions, and kind of, like, just say we're in a queue at Subway, and I'm just having a little look at the menu. She's at the front of the queue, and then I go up to say, I'll have the meatball marinara, honey. And I'll look behind, and it's not her at all. It's not her at all. She's even stood with a fella sometimes.
Oh, you've still done it. So you've done it in Subway. Where else have you done it?
Tesco's, nightclubs, pubs, everywhere. But it's so common now that my wife just looks. She watches me do it. She just watches me do it. I'm terrible for it.
Now, it's embarrassing. It's never got to anything physical, has it? Because you've never gone up and gone and given a complete stranger a cuddle or anything, have you?
Well, no, I don't. We're not very tactile anyway in public.
Right.
But I do kind of. I have a couple of times put my hand kind of around them a little bit, just at the back, just to let her know I'm here.
Yeah.
But it's not her.
All right, Adam. Thanks for sharing.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bob's Breakfast.
I'm Graham Mack, and I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, make sure you share it on Facebook and Twitter, and you can subscribe at iTunes. Cases of mistaken identity. Dave?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got quite a funny one, actually.
What happened?
I got mistaken for a mate of mine.
Yeah?
By my wife.
By your wife?
Yeah.
Would she not have her glasses on or something? What's going on there?
Well, we was at a party.
Yeah.
And we was all having a good time. Jane had a couple of drinks. And she went and sat down on what she thought was my lap and started rubbing my knee.
Mm-hmm.
But to her horror, it was a friend of mine called Russell. And the look on his face was absolutely a picture.
Yeah, it'd be horror for him too.
Yeah, and James never lived it down till this day. Every time we see each other, he, come sit on my lap, Jay.
Ah, no.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, actually, I feel quite flattered, actually, because he's a lot better looking than me. But...
Bob's Breakfast.
Donald Trump always, to me, looks like a fella who's combed his hair with a balloon.
Brush your teeth. It's Bob's Breakfast.
I was just thinking back. You know, it's been almost 20 years since I left Australia. The last radio station I worked on there was a station called 2GO on the central coast of New South Wales, about an hour north of Sydney. I did the nighttime show and I used to get some weird callers. I'm pretty sure alcohol was involved. But here's some of the people who used to call me at night in Australia. Come back in time with me now.
Hello, Mr. Mack Attack.
Who's this?
How you going? It's Greg.
Oh, who's that shouting out?
Well, Leona and Peter.
Who are they?
Oh, they're friends of mine. And they're very much in love.
Ooh. That's nice. So they're all round at your place tonight?
No, they're at Peter's place. I gate crashed their party.
Oh, and you're using Peter's phone?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, just ringing up the bill, mate. No worries.
So you're the mate that he's got that she hates then, I suppose? You'd be your bloody mate Greg, wouldn't you?
It's Rebecca from the Central Coast Truck Show.
I suppose the truck's out of the question.
Oh, good on you.
My name's Myola Joy Roach, and I'm 48, and I've got long blonde hair down to my shoulders.
Do you have a famous celebrity that you look like?
Maybe a bit like Nicole Kidman.
Ah, really?
Bit fatter, though.
Hello there, who are you?
Who am I? I'm Darren.
You talking to yourself, Darren?
Am I?
Every time I turn 2DO on, you're on.
They're working me into the ground.
And why's that?
Because they hate my guts.
Oh, yeah.
They put me on a show where I have to talk to people like you. They obviously can't like me.
You're going back to England?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Oh, great. Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Liv, but when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Sergio has just died.
I hope Liv recovered from that. Bob's here. You've not been up to much lately, Bob. What did you do last night?
I went out for some takeaway. That's it.
What did you go for?
A chicken Caesar wrap.
That reminds me of something funny that happened at a radio station I worked at not long ago. There was a news reporter that worked there who, shall we say, was, well, airhead is probably too strong, but she wasn't so bright.
Yes.
Okay. There was also a very, very good journalist who presented the bulletins. She was very sharp. You know, she knew everything. Something, yes. If you didn't hear it from her on the news, it just didn't happen. I mean, she knew everything. So the young reporter that goes out has got a reputation in the building for being, you know, a little bit ditzy. So she says one day in the office to the Warhorse news journalist lady kind of thing, she says, "What's the difference between a wrap and a donut?" just randomly from nowhere. So the hard-edged news presenter goes, "Well, a donut's kind of sweet." So she goes, "Really? Sweet? Always?" She's like, "Well, pretty sure, yeah." Wow. I never knew that. I thought they could be either way. No. The next day she comes back into the office. She says, "You know when I asked you about a donut and a wrap?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "I was talking about audio." Because in news, if they do a story that is a self-contained piece where you know, it's a recorded piece and it's self-contained, it's known as a wrap, and it covers the whole story. Yeah, if you do a piece that has a top and a tail to it, well, that's a donut.
What would you do if you were accidentally given £44,000?
What do you mean accidentally given it? Explain the circumstances. How did I get it?
Well, there was a builder who ended up with this money. He immediately went on a 6-week
Where did he get it from?
spending spree.
Do you mean you don't just end up with 44 grand?
Well, the mistake happened when this builder put the decimal point in the wrong place. So he was being paid, and the money went into his account with the decimal point.
Oh, it was his wages?
It was his wages.
Straight away. You go and see the boss and go, there's been a mistake here.
Yeah. Yeah,
because they're gonna work it out. They're gonna find that amount of money.
Yeah,
at some stage, it mightn't be tomorrow, it mightn't be next week, but eventually they're gonna work it out.
44 grand is a lot of money.
They will notice that's gone missing,
unless they've got a particularly bad accountant.
Yeah, no, they'll notice.
Yeah, of course. Well, this guy noticed this money in his account. He gambled away £12,500 on the night he received the money.
Wait a second. What an idiot.
Yeah.
Even if you'd got 44 grand legitimately, like you'd won it in a lottery or something, the last thing you're going to do is go gambling with it.
Yeah.
You've just won. The chances of you winning again this big are so slim now. Law of averages.
Well,
he gambled away 12 grand.
He obviously couldn't believe his luck because he put in an invoice for £446 and ended up with 44,660.
Yes,
yeah,
considerable amount more.
He's been given a suspended sentence now. He's avoided a jail sentence.
He's lucky to be out of jail. I suppose they need him out of jail so as he can work to pay the money back. Because if you put him in jail, he can't pay it back. You've got to pay it back.
Well, yeah. I mean, he went online and blew all this cash on a betting website.
What an idiot.
Jewellery was also on his shopping list.
But never mind that. 12 grand. You think what you can buy for 12 grand. You can buy a new car.
Well, he did actually buy a new car.
Yes.
Along with the rest of the money.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah.
But for 12 grand, you can really enjoy just that portion of it. Forget the 44. Yeah. You can really enjoy 12 grand.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that could be a first-class round-the-world trip, round-the-world cruise. You could enjoy 12 grand. There is no way in one night that bloke gambling got the amount of, whatever you call it, satisfaction that he could have got with that 12 grand. This is why I don't understand gambling. This is from me, who's been to Las Vegas twice and not gambled when I was there. Not because I'm a miser, but when I got there and I saw all this free entertainment and these amazing buffets for $1 and these huge casinos, you think to yourself, there's no way you can win at this gambling lark. This game is rigged. All of the games are rigged in the house's favour. Unless you are Donald Trump. You cannot lose money running a casino. But Donald Trump has done that twice. So to gamble it is like, this guy's an idiot.
So it's that happened to me. I got accidentally paid for a month after I left a company.
Yeah.
They put in but I just told them I didn't go gambling.
They're gonna get the but they're gonna get the money back.
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't they?
They're gonna.
It's their money. It's not your money.
Yeah.
Well, this guy, despite spending 12.5 grand on gambling, then only spent £2,000 on a car.
Well, what happened there?
Well,
did he have nothing else left? Did he spent it all?
No, he'd still got a fair proportion left. So he'd spent this 12.5 grand on gambling. He then bought a knackered old car for £2 grand. It broke down the same day that he bought it.
Could have bought a really good, brand new car for about 12 grand. Nice hatchback.
Yeah. It was taken into a garage to be fixed. But then it turned out he couldn't afford to pay the bill because he had no money left when this car was ready to be picked up.
Is this bloke from Teesside by any chance?
He is.
Now, just if anyone's listening who's from Teesside, I'm not just saying that for a cheap laugh, but I lived in Teesside. I worked at TFM. A station which doesn't exist anymore. I left, the ratings went, and they amalgamated it with another one. Because once you go Mack, you can't go back. Anyway, I worked up there for 4 years.
Yes.
And there were a couple of times where people on the phone just blew my mind with what they do with money. One of them, I think the Euro Millions had hit a new jackpot, so we just went on the air with the classic, what would you spend the money on? And a woman on the phone says to me, and it was, I forget how much money it was like 100 million quid. It was ridiculous. It was an unimaginable amount of life-changing amount of money. And I said to this woman, I said, what would you do with the money? She says, I'd buy a new car. And I went, oh, right, what would you buy? And she went, a Citroen. And I thought that was as funny as it got.
Yeah.
Weeks later, there was a bloke from Teesside on Big Brother, where you win 100 grand.
Yeah.
And this, along the way, I don't remember this series of Big Brother, they had some contests or whatever, and this kid won 100 grand while he was still in the house. And he was still playing to win another 100 grand as the eventual winner. They had some contest in the house, and he won £100,000. So we tracked down his dad, because his name was we found it in the online anyway.
Yeah.
So I rang his dad live on the air, and I said to his dad, I said, you know, he's won this money. When he comes out of the house, are you hoping he's going to treat you? He says, oh, I hope so. I said, oh, great. Well, what do you got your eye on? He says, well, I've got my eye on a couple of pigeons. I'm not joking, that's what he said. So I'm wondering,
how long ago was this?
This wasn't that long ago. It was 2008.
A couple of pigeons.
Yeah, it was like
well, it sounds like it.
Yeah. So where's this fellow from? I'm just wondering.
He's from North Yorkshire.
He's from North Yorkshire. He's from North Yorkshire. There's something about that part of the world, I'm telling you.
Bob's Breakfast.
B.H.S. Hooly dooly. This Sir Philip Green, taking the H out of B.H.S. And there are calls for him to lose his knighthood. MPs accused him of systematically taking money out of B.H.S. and failing to address its pension deficit. Do you know what his knighthood's for?
No.
Services to retail.
Oh, dear.
Now, the Liberal Democrat leader Tim Farron and the Labour leadership candidate Owen Smith have called for Sir Philip to lose his knighthood. The bookmakers Paddy Power reckon that Green is odds-on to lose his knighthood by the end of 2017. There's even a petition calling for it to be revoked, which gets hundreds of signatures per minute. There's 57,000 signatures on it right now. I don't agree. I don't think Sir Philip Green should be stripped of his knighthood. I reckon he should still be a knight. If an employee of B.H.S. had been caught with their hand in the till, they would have been sacked. And if they'd taken out as much money as Green did, now remember, he left B.H.S. with a £571 million deficit in their pension fund alone. This is the bloke, if you haven't seen him, there's pictures of him in today's papers on his yacht. Anyway, if an employee of B.H.S. had been caught with their hand in the till, they would have been fired, and there would have been criminal proceedings.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what they should do with this fella. Taking titles off people when they do something wrong, that's just a way of sanitising the brand of titles. The establishment will definitely want to strip him of his title. He's another embarrassment to them, like the paedophiles Sir Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris and Stuart Hall. Savile was a knight, Rolf Harris was a CBE, Stuart Hall was an OBE. Then there's the Soviet spy, Sir Anthony Blunt, and the disgraced banker, Sir Fred the Shred Goodwin. You see, when people with these titles get found out, their title should remain intact to expose how irrelevant these titles are as a judge of character. So what's that about the MTV Music Awards?
They're due to take place. This is in New York at the end of next month. Adele going head-to-head with Beyonce.
Yeah.
For one of the prizes.
I tell you someone who won't be getting a prize.
Who's that?
Paul Simon.
Paul Simon? Why is that?
Well, legendary singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Written some of the most iconic songs ever.
Mm.
Have you heard him? He performed at the Democratic National Convention.
I've heard about it. I've not heard him.
You've not actually heard the audio?
I've not heard the audio yet.
Bridge over troubled water.
When you're weary, you're feeling small.
It's not too bad there.
No.
When tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all.
Okay.
I'm on your side. When times get rough,
Times get rough. Singing gets rough.
and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
It's like when a drunken uncle decides to do a version.
The picture I got in my mind was somebody leaning against a bar with a pint of beer in
Yeah.
the other hand.
And when you're down and out,
It's the medley.
Yeah.
when you're on the street, yeah.
He's messing with his own song too much.
Evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I will comfort you. I'll take your part.
Now it sounds like he's starting to relax into it a little bit now.
Yeah.
When darkness comes and pain is all around,
Well, he's got that right about pain.
just like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Like a bridge over troubled water.
Oh no. So
It
not
kind of
good.
sounds like he's lost interest.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. You know what he should do though?
What's that?
He should maybe, like, I don't know, team up with another singer. You know, form some kind of a double act.
Good idea.
Maybe if only he could find, like, an odd-looking, awkward, taller bloke with a receding Jewfro. That might work.
It's Bob.
Why is my wife booking a secret trip to Scotland? That's what I was thinking yesterday afternoon. You see, I'm busy on the computer, and I heard her in the other room, and she just shouted out the word train, and then she shouted out Edinburgh, and it sounded to me like she was on the phone to one of those automated ticket lines. So I walked in, and that's when I realised she's watching the quiz show The Chase with the headphones on, and she's shouting out the answers.
This is Bob. BOBfm.